Hey folks, welcome to another video here on the 67 Mustang channel. First I want to apologize for it being a while since I've had a video posted. Life's been a little crazy, went on vacation with the family down at Jekyll Island, Georgia, and then came back and work has been nuts, so I just really haven't had time to do much on the old girl, so apologize. But we're going to get into some good things today. I think you'll like it. We're going to start looking at the body. We got most of the mechanical stuff done, so time to dig in to what we can start looking at as far as body work needing to be done on the old girl. So let's get into that now. Okay, so we know we've got some body work to do on the old girl. Do want to give you a quick update on the Efi system from Holley. They are still having delays on getting parts and components and materials and all that together. So now they're telling me it's supposed to ship later here in June, on the 18th, I believe, if I remember correctly. They did finally actually send me an email instead of me having to call them to check on the status. They sent an email, again, apologizing for the delays. Hoping we would understand and so on. So again, thanks to Holley for sending that out. I would say this though, this is my one gripe with this whole thing. I understand the delays. I know these are things outside of Holley's control. They can't control when they're getting their parts. They can't control the quality of what they're getting, short of testing it, right, and not using defective parts or whatever. So I fully understand the delay and don't have any blame towards Holley on that. It's things outside their control. I fully get that. What is driving me a little nuts about this is how they notify you. The only way I know a change in my status in expected delivery date, or ship date I should say, is by manually going to their website and looking at the part itself. It's not even listed in my account, but I have to go to the part itself and see what they're saying is the estimated ship date for that part on their website, which seems ridiculous. I think some sort of automated notification should be fairly easy. I mean, they obviously have a database with my account in it. They obviously have some sort of warehouse database that's tracking estimated delivery dates for parts. So being able to say, well, if this changes, send an email out to these people that have ordered this part shouldn't be very complicated. And the only reason I'm saying this is I work in the computer industry, I work with databases, I work with folks, I don't do it because I'm not a programmer, but with creating apps that do very similar things. It's not hard. So that's my only complaint. I mentioned it to Holley, you know, what they're going to do, who knows. Anyway, let's get back on this. We're mostly done with the mechanical parts on this car. I mean, we've completely redone the suspension, the exhaust, we had the head reworked, we've redone all the brakes. We do have a leaky transmission, so I need to redo the seals on the transmission, so that's one thing I've got to do. Still would like to work the exhaust a little bit better, but by and large, especially once we get the Efi system on, we'll have most of the mechanical stuff done. I'm still fighting with the instrument panel, getting it to work. I've kind of given up on that for right now. I'll get to it when I get to it. Now it's time to really focus on the body of the car. And I know a lot of folks have said we need to keep the patina. They like this patina. And at first I was really adamantly opposed to that. I didn't like that idea. However, the more I've worked on the car, got her back up and actually cleaned up what was here, that idea was growing on me. I actually was kind of thinking, well, maybe we ought to do that. Then I asked the two people that really matter most to me about what I ought to do with the car. Should I keep the patina, or should we try to get her back to more like when my dad and mom first bought her in '67? So those two people were my wife and my dad, the remaining original owner of the car. They unilaterally said that we need to make her as close, not perfect, but as close to what she looked like when she rolled out of the dealership in March of '67 when my dad bought her. So being that both of them have been supporting me heavily on this car to get her to the point she is now, and will obviously continue to be doing that, that's the way I'm going. I'm not gonna keep the patina. So at some point this car will get painted. It will go back to this color. Although more this color is down here because this is 50-something-year-old faded paint. So that means we got to start looking at the body. What are we going to do? What are we going to fix? So what I'm going to do is bring you in here. There's several spots along the body I want to look at. And I'd really like the opinion of those of y'all that have done body work or know anything about body work, because I don't. I've obviously never done that kind of thing. So anyway, let's get you in here and take a look at some of the spots I know. So let's go do that now. Okay, so we're going to start back here at the passenger side rear quarter. And this is the first spot that we have. Now this, what you see here, was put in the 80s. This was something I did with the help of a friend. We started to try to do some of the body work, but never quite finished it. So I don't know. Okay, yep. So I'm feeling around in the back, and I'm going to try to get, let's see if I can get some light back here. I'm not sure if we can. You can see back in there, but I can see, it looks like right up in there where that had rusted through. And then we just put in some filler here, and you can see we didn't do a very good job because it's extending out past all that. So I don't know if I should just go in and continue and sand this down here, just keep it. Like I said, I'm not going for a perfect car. You can see, actually you can see where this is obviously separating out here. So, obviously we didn't do a very good job. And that's pretty damn thick. Okay, so, you know, do I go in and replace, you know, patch in something here? I mean, the rest of the quarter up here, all of this is good. There's no rust through or Bondo up anywhere in here. This is all good metal all around here until we get to this spot over here. Right, so we get to this spot right here, and we've kind of done the same thing. You can definitely see, let me say if I put some light through here, you can see where that's rusted through there. So I would have to again patch in this section right here. You know, I don't know, is it easier to patch it, or should we replace, you know, cut out a section of the quarter from here up here and around right to here and get that whole wheel arch replaced? I don't know. I don't know. Again, not a body guy, so I don't know what's the best way to tackle this. Now the good thing is these rockers down here are solid. There's nothing wrong with those rockers. Rockers are all good. Like I said, I've had the side out of here and looked into this area. All of this is good metal. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. No, I really want to keep it stable. I don't want to be able to get any worse, but I don't know. Anyway, so that's the first spot that we're looking at. So now there's a spot up here in the door. So let's crawl my fat old butt up that way along the ground. So this isn't that uncommon, to get some sort of rust spot in here. Now what I did, whoops, there's my fingers in the way. That's what happens when you're trying to hold it with your hand. So in here, right, we had filled it and all that, and there was this spot here. There was a spot up here. So the other week, like last weekend, I actually worked up under in the wheel well there, clear out rust and paint it up and all that. So I did that. I had the sander out, so I sanded this out in here to see what it was like. You can see that you got some bare metal here. That feels like metal there that's shiny, but what I have here is a high spot. I can feel it with my fingers that this here is higher than this, you know, over here. And the door, you'll also notice, is pushed out a little bit there. So, you know, I'm not sure. I think this is maybe I can tap it in a little bit with a body hammer. I don't know. So that's the next spot. It's not as bad. It's not rusted through. It's pretty good. The underside of the door is rusty. Let's see if we can just see that. Open Mr. Door up here. I think so. It's got a little surface rust up here under the door, but other than that, it's in pretty dang good shape. Actually, this passenger door is better shape than the driver's door is. Right, the worst spot is kind of up in here. Right there. But the rest of it's in good. And again, you can see this, how solid these rockers are in here. So I'm not, again, looking, just giving you all an advice. So of course I still got to do the trim on here and all that. So I'm hoping, talking about trim, is that once I get this rubber off that goes all the way around the door, that I won't have the same problem up on the, let me get up off the ground. This is getting old stuff. It's full of birds. Whew, there we go. That I won't have the same problem that I had on the driver's door. I still haven't put the door panel on because I'm still having some issues with this window. But I got to get new weather stripping for the vent and all that anyway. So when I pull this out here, that I won't have the same rust problems up in here, and I don't feel like I will, that I had on the driver's door, where I'm going to have to do something on that. That's another part of the bodywork. Okay. So we got that. Next we've got this fender. You'll notice it's not fitting very well. And I know this happened in the 80s when my dad and I pulled this fender off here because he had a friend that went and replaced this engine bay apron, and the battery tray because it was rusted through as normal. Now you can see he replaced it with pop rivets. That's how he secured it, was pop rivets. Not welded in, not spot weld, nothing. He also didn't trim the inside of this. It sticks out. So, sorry about that. Wife called, had to answer. You know how that goes. So where was I? Oh yeah, how about this being? So it fit, this fender fit before we took it off so that the guy could put in this apron in the engine bay. So I don't know if it's just something we're not doing with knowing how to properly adjust the fender, or if he put that in wrong. We do know that originally back in the early 70s, this car was in an accident. My dad hit somebody, with the front of the car. So the front end, from what I can tell, is not completely original. This whole front clip, I think, was mostly replaced. That this isn't the original fender. That's not the original fender. I also know that this headlight bucket thing, this piece right here, I replaced in the 80s because the one that was on here had a big crack right there. So that's not original to the car. But what I'm wondering here is if, when the guy riveted this in, if this run from the cowl up there down to here may be a little bit shorter by, it did not much, maybe 1/8 of an inch, somewhere around that, to 1/4 of an inch, which would then pull that in properly. But anyway, I'm not sure. Again, need some advice on that. And I know a lot of this isn't original because usually your VIN or information plate would be right here, right in this cutout. Well, instead I've got it tagged up here with this screw. So this is where the dealership, because my dad had the repairs done at the Ford dealership in downtown Atlanta in the early 70s. They moved that plate here, so they cut it off from what was the original apron here to do that. So then also, does that mean that maybe they didn't fix it correctly and something's out of whack there? So, okay. Which also means that there's other bolts and things like these. Oh, I don't have them on here. So I've got the chrome
guards that go down here. I forget what they're called, but you know, the ones that go down like right in here, right in here somewhere goes down, bumper guards, I don't know. But they don't fit all the way on. They don't, the bottoms I can't get to connect. So, I don't know. Okay, so that's under the hood. Let's put this back down. Come back around. Then on this fender, I mean, it's in pretty good shape. We've got obviously some scuff mark there, and it's kind of a low spot. It's been pressed in a little bit, but not too bad. You can see that this fits in here pretty good still, so I'm happy with that. Then I've got a little dent like this now, and then there's another ding right there. Now I'm kind of inclined to maybe just keep that and paint over it to keep a little character in the car. But again, I don't know if I want to do that or not. Now the other thing that shows me this is a replacement fender is this. I took off this decorative chrome piece, runs down here on the rocker, and you can see that this is just primered, and that's Ford factory primer, and whereas that's all painted. So that hasn't been painted. I would paint over that. Actually, I may do that myself. There. And then of course I've got all of these little, this isn't real body work here, but all the paint that chipped off on the hood, on this headlight bezel here that I've got to deal with. Again, that can be done with repaint, but you notice, look at that, that's bent up. So that could have been from the original accident my dad was in, and they just never, they didn't replace that because it was hidden by the bumper, right? I don't know. And again, then we have the damage that was done here on the hood with Dad had the paint can stacked up here and all that. So this is going to have to be, you know, all of this is going to have to be sanded down. But then notice this here, like this hood is rising up here. And it's a little down up here, right? So this needs to come, this front part needs to come up, this back part needs to go down. Not a big deal. Okay. Other things, again, on this driver's side fender, we've got a nice crease in here. But again, it's a good solid fender. There's no real rust. This, where the bumper attaches, I don't have that attached because it's not lining up. I'm not sure if that's a bumper problem or what. I haven't pulled the rocker off. But then I've got this same, you know, issue here, but I think it's worse than it was on the passenger door, because I know the underside of this door is a lot worse, right? So, you know, that's what I'm talking about right here. I need to sand that down and assess that, but I'm pretty sure that was a bigger hole, so I need to probably patch it. And then you get to the underside of the door. Well, let's do this while I'm up here. So first, y'all remember that we have, let's see if you can see all that. Yep, this rust damage right in here that has to be patched. Right there. Right, so the rest of the door is pretty good. Then you get underneath. And now I have sprayed this off some, but this was a lot more rusty. Nothing through, but it's pretty pitted under here. But I think it's good. I've got, like I said, some rust converter on it. And then we get under here, these rockers are still in good shape. We got some bend spots where people jacked it up in the wrong place, and that was probably me in the 80s. But, you know, the rockers are pretty good. So. And now we're back to this fender. Tell it's been sitting a while. So again, we've got the same thing. We put in some body filler that's coming out now. Again, this was done in the 80s by me and a buddy. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. But you can kind of see that. And this side was a lot worse than the other side because it came through here. And sadly, I don't have my light to show back in the back. I don't think you're going to be able to see any better back up in there. Sorry about the finger. Not trying to give you the finger or nothing. But this here, again, the rocker's pretty good up here until it meets the fender, and some of this is body filler here, but this is obviously crusty. And then up here, I can tell you that this area right in here does go all the way through because I can feel the filler on the back side of it here. And then we come over to here, right? And this is rusted all the way through down here as well. So we got that, but again, we got the rest of this is all good solid metal up through here, and down through here is all good. There is a line right there, dent, crease, whatever you want to call it there, a dent right there. And some of these I don't mind. I don't want perfection out of this car. I'm looking for something that's a nice, you know, weekend driver that's fun. I can get into and go. I don't want it to get worse. I want it to keep living. So I don't want to necessarily do anything halfway. But I also don't want. I'm not trying to create a show quality car, right? I just, you know. So again, is it better to replace this quarter skin or not? I don't know. This is why I'm looking for some advice. And then up here, I've got some obvious rust. I haven't taken this trim piece off here just because honestly I'm scared. Oops, sorry. What is it going to show me? Am I going to see more damage under here that I don't want to know about? I don't know. The other side is good. I haven't seen any bubbling like you see in here. Let's see, you can see that better. But I'm probably going to pull all of the trim out around this back window at some point, make sure it's good, because this is, as far as I know, this is original glass. Matter of fact, as far as I know, all the glass on the car is original. And then we got a couple of things back here on the end, which I'm gonna get a light for, because I think it'll be, oh, let's get back to the passenger door, because I walked right by this and forgot. So you'll notice here that I've got some, obviously where this door has been dinged on things. I don't know if that's something I should bother fixing or leave as part of the character of the car. Because you can also see here the way that's kind of dinged up. If I can hammer that down, I don't know. Okay, back to the back of the car here. So I've got some trunk issues here. You can see that the trunk is high. And you know, I did replace the trunk seal, which probably is contributing to that to some extent. But I checked the video and photos I had of the car before I put that new seal in there, and it was very similar. It was riding high like that. So again, I don't know if that's an adjustment, because the back is fine. The back lid is fine. It's just this front part here. Now, it could also be those bump stops, or whatever you call them, that are up under there that are original as far as I know, and kind of hard as a rock. Maybe they're holding it up because they don't compress enough. I don't know. Maybe the trunk is just partially warped like that for being that way for a while. Again, these are things I'm looking for advice on. So then lastly, from what I can tell, now the rear valence down here, or whatever you call this piece, it's all brand new. Right? So it's good. I'm not worried about that. But then you get up into here where you can see that rust bubbling out from, oops, sorry, the light bezel, right? And then it looks like a little spot there. Got a little surface rust and stuff up there, but I'm not worried about that. That's easy enough to take out. But I've got that little bit of rust area there that obviously is bad. I mean, that's not good. There's probably more than just surface rust in there. New gas cap. I had to replace that when I replaced the gas tank, or did the sending unit issue, because I had gas leaking out of that one, out of the old one. And I've got the same problem over here, right? So, and you can see how that's rusted through there. Oops, I'm pushing on that, probably not too good. So, you know, again, is it better, do I just cut out and patch where let me pull this back some, right? So do I just cut out a square here, get a new tail panel, and just weld in or patch in that, or do I try to just patch in this little section here? Same corner down here. I don't know. I'm not sure what the best way to do that is. And then, like lastly, I've said, so these are what I was talking about on the front, whatever these down things are called. On the front they were chrome, and on the back they were painted. So neither one of these can I get that back plug to bolt into any spot, up under here. So, is that because this is, and I can tell this one's obviously bit because it's up against this, and if you look at this one, there's a much bigger gap there. But even then, that part won't go down. I mean, there's no way you can get a bolt unless you go through the rocker panel, or whatever this piece is called. Not rocker panel, rock guard, rear valence, I don't know, whatever this is called, to get through that to bolt that in. And there is a, I think, is that, yeah, there is a hole up under here that was meant for that. Let's see if I can, trying to get up where you can see that. So yeah, you can see it right there, right? So that part right there is supposed to bolt, as far as I know, into this part right here. There's just no way with doing that unless I do some major, like I said, either drill through, which the original one I had didn't have a hole drilled through it to do that with, but maybe it's supposed to. I don't know. A lot of I don't knows in this one. So
but there you go. So that's kind of a general assessment of the bodywork stuff I think that needs to be done to the car. I said I'm really looking for some opinions and advice, because as much as I did know about mechanical stuff, I know even less about body stuff. So any help or advice anybody's willing to give would be greatly appreciated. And I really do mean that, guys. Really, really do. So let's see here. What else I want to say? Well, anyway, I guess we'll go ahead and call it a video here. Do want to remind y'all about our merch store. We can get things like this wonderful coffee mug, or one of these die-cut stickers out there. I've added, again, some other types of things that aren't just 67 Mustang or this Mustang related, with circle of old car life and that kind of thing. So make sure to check out the merch store. I'll make sure there's a link in the description below. And everything you buy from there, all of the money goes back into this car or something on the channel. So you won't, I know I could use better microphones, things like that to help make it funner for y'all to watch. It would be great. So did want to mention those things. To everyone that has subscribed, thank you so much. We're very close now to almost 300 subscribers. So we just done the 200 subscriber giveaway, and we're already over 2/3 of the way up to 300 subscribers. So that's pretty cool for a project that's all about one single car mostly. A few other little how-tos on other types of vehicles, and I'll continue to do stuff like that as well. So again, thank you to everybody that has subscribed. We really do, or I really do appreciate it. Kind of keeps me motivated to go and work on this old girl whenever I can, because I really do love this old car. We've been through a lot together. So I do want to take a quick moment. I know it's late, but a couple of weeks ago, at least by the time this video airs, was Memorial Day here in the U.S. And on that day, we remember those who were in our armed services that gave their life in the line of duty. And as a veteran myself, and somebody that experienced that loss and of shipmates and whatnot, I do want to take a quick moment to say thank you to those. You were gone, but definitely not forgotten. And to their families, I am so sorry for the loss you had to endure so that we can have the freedoms that we have in this country. It means a lot. And again, know that your family members are not forgotten. Those that served at a minimum, if not a lot more, will always remember that sacrifice. So thank you so much for that. So guys, again, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Do please leave those comments about any suggestions or ideas about the body. Here, remember, we're not keeping the patina. That's a null option. So don't even try that. The wife and the dad aren't going for that. So doesn't mean we have to make her perfect, but we want to get her close. So with that, guys, look forward to seeing y'all in the next video.